and takeaways you have on tonight's presentation. But let's not waste any more time. Let's move forward on why you came here tonight. To learn about LinkedIn, I have to first tell you that the presenter tonight is a dear friend of mine, that I met her in the Toastmasters world, and we've decided we're sisters from another mother, that she has the same playful performing spirit, and I love her dearly. Let me ask you this question. When someone looks you up on LinkedIn, what do they see? A profile photo that flatters you? A branded background that tells people what value you bring? Recommendations from your best clients? Oh, no? If not, this workshop is for you. In 40 minutes, you will learn the top 5 things you can do right now to get your profile leveraged for connectivity. And it's easier than you think. Our presenter is a professional speaking coach, communications trainer, and multimedia producer. Her company, Showcase Your Shine, works with leaders and teams to be ready to engage from every stage with confidence, which is accomplished at lightning speed while having the most fun humanly possible, which is what I love about Rebecca, according to her clients. Here to help us learn to leverage your LinkedIn profile like a digital dynamo, please welcome Rebecca Murray.
Thank you, Lindy McLean. Wonderful. Well, I'd like to set the expectations for this evening. We have about 50 minutes together, and I am hoping this will be a very interactive session, which means that you will be heavily involved. Before we get started and I lay out the red carpet for tonight's LinkedIn agenda, let me ask you a few questions in the chat. And you will put a 1 in the chat if you currently have a LinkedIn profile. A 1 in the chat. Okay, I see 3 1s so far. Okay, lots of 1s. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, next question. And if everybody could please mute, that would be lovely. Next question is, this you will use a word or a short phrase to answer. Why do you have a LinkedIn profile? If you have, everybody who answered with a 1, why do you have for work? Okay, we're supposed to, okay, to use the learning, not sure, no longer sure. Okay, that's great. That's exactly what I'm looking to find. Not sure, only way to find friends there. Other than Toastmasters, right? Professional information about company, professional go-to. Okay. And for those of you who didn't put a 1 in the chat, who currently don't have a LinkedIn profile, if I'm speaking to you when I say, would you like to have one if you knew how it could help you, put a 2 in the chat. Put a 2. If you currently don't have a profile, but you think maybe if you learned about it and it would be helpful to you, certainly you don't want to do it if it's going to be wasting your time, put a 2 in the chat. We'll see if we have any folks in that. Okay, I'm not seeing any 2s. All right, next word or phrase. Oh, here we go. When I was transitioning out of the military, I was told but it does never help me get a job, and I never use it now. Okay, yes, there are many, many people, hundreds of thousands of people probably, that have LinkedIn profiles that they set up a while ago and they're never on LinkedIn. So the answer is why? Why have it if you don't use it? There might be a reason, and we'll explore that. Last question for you before we get going. Why did you come tonight? What are you hoping to learn? How are you hoping this session might help you? And that is just a word or a short phrase in the chat, please. Advance my skills. Yes. LinkedIn skills. Oh, for Toastmasters Club promotion. That's great. Okay. I want to learn how I can use LinkedIn effectively. Lindy paid me to show up. Lindy, how much are you paying people these days? Has it gone up? I mean, with inflation, you know?
That was my joke master, and I skipped over her inadvertently.
Program. All right, so I have a good idea of who's here and why you are here. And let me first just say that I don't teach LinkedIn. There are many, many people who do. I'm going to introduce to you one person who I feel, if you want to dig in and have somebody at your side to not only help you with your profile, but help you learn how to really leverage LinkedIn through your connections. I'll introduce her to you at the end. Also another person, and now Beth is I would say she's a compadre. She's a speaker. I'm a professional speaker, and we're in a small group together. So I know all about her. She's fantastic, and I highly recommend her. The other person I'm going to introduce you to, and I'll show her profile, is Lisa Stambaugh. I've hired Lisa as a writer. I've had her write parts of my LinkedIn profile. She's funny, she's a little sassy, she's very creative. I absolutely love her. And it's worth, she's very, very, I wouldn't say inexpensive, I would just say reasonably priced for her incredible genius. So I'm going to introduce you to her as well. Very well spent. I started using LinkedIn when I started my video production business 10 years ago. And that was the very first time I even had any footprint on LinkedIn. My first goal was to have 25 connections. I'm going to have 25 connections in 3 months. And then my goal went up to 50. I'm going to have 50. And I'd look at these people who had 500 plus and wonder, could I ever be one of those people? It was sort of like the DTM goal. You know, I want to become a DTM, which I am. But it was that same sort of feeling, like I'm going to set my sights high and I'm going to be strategic and intentional about building connections on LinkedIn. But I'll tell you how I use it now, 10 years later. I have thousands of connections. And I'm not on there every day like some people are. There are people who post something every single day. Like, why? It's the same people. It's the same mentality of people who post something on Facebook every single day. Today I'm eating a hamburger. Tomorrow I'm at the beach. Look at me. I won an award. You know, that kind of stuff. I'm so not into that. For me, it's really about intentionality. And here's the best way that I found to use it and why I have a LinkedIn profile and why I occasionally during the week, okay, it's time to go on LinkedIn. What's on LinkedIn? Oh, okay, here's somebody that actually I want them to hire me. So they have a post and I'm gonna like it, or, you know, clappy hands. And then I'll write a little sentence. I'll try not to be too trite, you know, that sort of thing. It's hard to be creative all the time, let's face it. And then so, hey, I'm alive. Basically, that's all that's saying to that person. I'm alive. Don't forget I'm here. You know? And then they'll like it, so they know you're alive and that you're there and that maybe you're top of mind. I was in a habit last year of posting one thing a week that would be helpful. And I get decent traction on my posts. When I post, I try to be creative and thoughtful. I mean, it's not about me ever. It's always about, oh, here's something that might help you. And that's really the best way to show up but the number one post that I have ever had by thousands of interactions better. The number one was about my dad. I think I posted a couple of pictures like this. This is me when I'm like 3. There's my dad. And my dad, the story was about secondhand dad. That's what I called it. Or second chance dad. Second chance dad. My dad was in prison before he met my mom. And it was in prison that he learned a trade. And that trade helped him buy a car. And that car helped him have a date with a pretty woman. And that pretty woman said yes when he asked her to marry him. And together they had 4 children, of which I am one. And then he paid it forward. He didn't stop there. He paid it forward. He came from 15 kids, very poor family. And one of my uncles says my dad saved his life because he was headed down the same path as my dad. And anyway, it was just kind of short story, but it just went crazy. And those are the other things that people love on LinkedIn. I mean, off the charts. Like if you can have a hero's journey story, not about yourself, but somebody that you know, an employee, if there's somebody at your company that has a really great story, or a customer of yours that you learn, and you're putting them in the spotlight, it also puts you in the spotlight in an amazing way. And then people reach out to you and they want to connect with you, although there is a lot of spam out there, I have to say. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to go over to LinkedIn. I'll share my screen and we'll start with my profile and just sort of work our way down. And actually, before we get there, let me ask you, for those of you who have a LinkedIn profile and you want to be able to use it better, do you feel right now, if you were networking, you went to a community function, you met somebody that potentially would would hire you, would hire your company. Let's say you're in sales and marketing, and you meet somebody that you want to connect with, you get their card, you're planning on following up with them. What's really wonderful to have happen after you have a great conversation with somebody is that you go on LinkedIn to find them and they've already reached out to you. I mean, that is like the icing on the cake. And you know what they've done? They've scoured your profile. They've gone to check you out. You show up, you're a Toastmaster. You show up fantastic in 3 dimensions. And now they want to look at your LinkedIn footprint. First of all, can they find you there? Not everyone's on LinkedIn. Secondly, what do they see? Do they see a picture that looks nothing like you because it's 15 years old? Do they see a background that's basically blank? This is why, even if you're not super engaged in LinkedIn, this is why you want a profile. It's exactly this type of thing. People are checking you out. So I'm going to look through the chat. I post 2 to 3 times daily and engage in discussions. Okay, you know what? I'm going to just bring Elaine up here. I'm going to just kick back, mute myself, and she's going to take over the rest of the session. Is that all right, Elaine? Is that all right? No, okay. I do want you to share, Elaine, however, I do want you to share later on. I'll ask you to unmute and share a few things. All right, let's go on over to LinkedIn, shall we? Now, this is my profile here. It hopefully looks like me. And let me reduce some of these windows here. And you'll see here, one thing you have to be concerned with, and we're going to talk about the easy peasy way to make a banner like that. If you're in business for yourself, like I am, then you want your colors to be the same, basically. Like, okay, they're going to go here. Now they're going to go to my website. They have to look similar. The branding has to be cohesive. Otherwise, it creates confusion and it creates also distrust. They're like, okay, she's not as professional as she seemed in person. So she's really got to get her act together. So here's at the top. And you know how we always say in Toastmasters, know your audience. If you would please, if you're independently employed in any way, shape, or form, would you put a number 3 in the chat? Even if you're on commission, sales, if your income and what you generate has to do directly with your energy, you reaching out, you showing up. Okay, a lot of 3s. There are folks, if you're an employed and your employer says, you need to have a LinkedIn profile, then you need to talk to the marketing person and say, hey, is there a background that I should be using? We have Julie is a marketing expert. So Julie, would you mind unmuting right now and tell us what you know about being an employee of like a large company? And do most companies that you're aware of let employees, if they have a LinkedIn presence, do they want them to be cohesive with the company, with their brand, or do they let them sort of do their own thing?
I can only speak for Kia, and we don't actively engage with our team members on social, so everyone kind of
Okay.
gets to do their own thing.
Okay, that's great. And I would wonder, so somebody, let's say they're at a company and they don't know that they're going to be there forever. They're thinking, well, maybe 2 to 3 years I'll be here. And but you know, I've set my sights higher. So that's another reason why you want a presence. If you're working for somebody, or maybe one day you'll go out on your own. You don't know what your future holds. You just always want to be open for opportunities to shine wherever you wish to. So what you'll want is, if you have your own business, you want your logo to show up but not overtake. You think about, what is the essence of what I do in one sentence, in 10 words or less. Basically, it's like your internal message. You know, when we talk about writing a speech and delivering a speech, what is your single, simple, 10-word or less message? And this is what I came up for me after, oh my gosh, it took a while to get there. When you're ready to engage from every stage with confidence, that's when you're going to hire me. Then you tell very simply what it is, like what is your niche, basically what it is you do. You put your email address, your phone number, and then I throw in 5-star edutainer, because I am a 5-star edutainer. And then you'll notice down below my name, I also have essentially basically like what skills, you know, what things do I use. Now I'm open to work from clients. I'm not looking for a job. So let's go down here a little bit. And I'm not going to talk about this much either. Creator mode. For those of you with a LinkedIn profile, please put a 1 in the chat if you are using creator mode, and then I'll discuss it just ever so briefly. And this is something they just came out, I want to say, it was in 2022. It was like halfway through the year, maybe. Okay, so Elaine, would you mind unmuting and tell us what creator mode is?
Okay, so creator mode gives you extra options for attracting people. You can put a little video when you go to the profile. You can somebody can click my profile and listen to a video. I haven't done that. I have other things going on my profile, but it gives you extra options.
Okay, Elaine, it would be great if we could look at your profile later in the session. Is that all right?
That's fine.
What is your last name?
Jackson.
Jackson, Elaine Jackson. Any initial in there?
Elaine T. Jackson.
Okay.
Look for somebody in Boston. It'll say Boston, Massachusetts.
Great. Okay, fantastic. We'll do that. Okay, the one thing, how you will know somebody's using creator mode is, well, let's go to Elaine's right now. Let's go to Elaine's. Elaine T. Jackson. Did I spell your name? Is this it?
No. I thought it was before. Yeah.
Elaine T. Jackson? No?
There's not a T. Well,
it's not a T in the middle?
There is a T, but I'm not sure how it shows up, how you find. There I am, PMP, GPMB.
Oh, wow, look at all those. Holy cow. So this is you right here?
That's me.
That's you. Okay. So what are you missing, Elaine?
What am I missing?
Yes. What are you missing? Why is this here? Do you see my cursor?
Oh,
See, there's no picture there.
Yeah, there's a logo. I'm not sure why it's not showing. That doesn't, I don't think, well, anyway, it's supposed to be my one of my
Connect if
logos.
you know each other. Okay, I haven't seen this. This is new. So in general, if somebody's using creator mode, they will not have a connect button here. This must be brand new. Basically, you have to go here and click connect. And then add a note is always the best thing to do. If you met somebody at a Zoom meeting or you met somebody in person and you want to connect with them, the tried and true method for connection is, hi Elaine. It's wonderful to meet you. And then after they connect with you a little bit, then you can send them a link to your calendar to get together in a sort of suggest in a soft way. I'd love to get to know you more. I'm wondering if you might have time on your calendar for a chat. I'll put mine in, I'll put a link to mine here for you if that works for you. And then all of a sudden you see a little Calendly invite and this person you just met is on your calendar, and now you can have this nice little session and see where you go from there. So it's lovely, lovely. All right, that's great. Let's go. We'll head back to Rebecca. I'll hit on this. Back to Rebecca. Okay. There we go. Let's scroll down here and I will show you. I'm going to introduce you to a woman by the name of Lisa Stambaugh. She is my wonderful, wonderful writer. I've hired her to scour my website, rewrite things on my website, rewrite things that I use to summarize the sessions that I teach and the sessions that I sell. I mean, she's absolutely fabulous. And you'll see here, I'm just going to click this pencil and open it up. Before I had something like Rebecca Murray, blah, 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 blah. Rebecca Murray, blah, blah, blah. She, this third person, she barely graduated college with a 2.69. No, I didn't have it on there, but that's actually true. So, it was just kind of boring and traditional. So after I sent a little bit about myself to Lisa and we had a couple sessions, she's like, oh, okay, I'm going to take it from here, Rebecca, you just back off. And so what she does is she just makes you sound amazing. She just makes you sound amazing and fun. Like I want people to understand that when you work with me, we will have F-U-N, lots of fun, fun, fun. And this comes across in the way she writes. It's just fun. Do you desire to? And so these are the questions. This is her recipe for LinkedIn, and she will do this for you. Let's go quickly and take a look at her profile so that you can connect with her if you so choose. Lisa Stambaugh, there she is. See, we're first connections, which means we know each other. We're on a first name basis. So here she is, Lisa Stambaugh, content writer at Much Ado About You. And you can hire her by the hour. I think 1 hour is $165. And she can do a lot in an hour. See how she uses this same recipe for herself that she uses for others. It's just fun to read. And here you see the featured section. So we'll go back to mine and take a look. Here, go ahead and if you want to write down her name, Lisa Stambaugh, S-T-A-M-B-A-U-H. Excellent writer if you need a writer. Next, actually, before we do that, before we go back to mine, let's go to Beth Granger. Here she is. This is the woman that I mentioned. And you could tell she has creator mode on because, there we go. See how there's this little video there that Elaine talked about? So, and you can actually unmute and you can hear her voice. So she's basically like, hi, I'm Beth Granger. It's like 10 seconds or something like that. But you see how clean this is? unleash the power of LinkedIn and networking? Like, do you have, there's no doubt in your mind what she does, right? No doubt. Unleash the power of LinkedIn and networking. Accelerate your LinkedIn networking. That is how clear that piece of real estate at the top should make it crystal clear what you bring to the world in as few words as possible. And the branding needs to be on point. So let's talk about your photo, your headshot. What does that say about you? I love this one of Beth. She's smiling, but not too big. It's sort of like the Goldilocks thing. You don't want a big cheesy smile, and you don't want something that kind of maybe could be a frown. You want something just very comfortable and conversational, looking like you could see yourself talking. I could see myself talking to Beth and being very comfortable doing so. That's what you're looking for. And women especially, you want to have a sense of confidence come through your photo. Confidence. One that flatters you and one that gives a feeling like, I got this. I got this. So take a look at your photo from that perspective and get feedback, just like we do in Toastmasters. Get feedback. If you hire somebody to do some photos, not with an iPhone, I wouldn't recommend that. I'd recommend a lens that's not a wide angle lens. With a wide angle lens, your nose is going to look bigger. And if you have, like, this camera is a wide angle lens, my nose looks huge here. I just, seriously, like sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, my nose is so big. But it's not in real life. I promise you, it's not really this big. But see the photo, it looks normal in that photo, and that's because I used a lens that is it's like an 85 millimeter. So find your best friend who has a great camera and get a clean background. So you pop, you are the focus. Wear something that you feel fantastic in and have them take a bunch of photos. Very often when I'm, I have a background in photography, so I'll work with people and oh my gosh, I hate my picture. I never take a good picture. And I say, well, this is the very last time you're ever going to be able to say that. Because after today, you're going to have a great picture. And you know it when you see it, right? You know when you see it. If it's like, no, 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 no. Oh, maybe. And if it's a maybe, put it in the maybe pile, and then you get closer and closer to that one you're going to put on LinkedIn. Okay, Chelsea says, if you can't find a photographer, I hear AI photographer generate pretty good these days. Yeah, you can use artificial intelligence maybe. Why not? Why not give that a try? That's kind of fun. Okay, so creator mode. Again, when you go to connect with somebody, and you don't see the connect button, click on the more button, and we're on my profile now, so you won't see it. Click on the more button, and there you will see connect. Click on connect. That will allow you to also add a little note and let them know why you're connecting with them. I resist the urge to connect without a note because it feels spammy. It can feel spammy. Okay, unless you've already, hey, I'm going to connect with you on LinkedIn. Great. Then that's fine. All right, featured section. What do you put here? So we have the top, the banner that gives the essence of you, the great picture, the succinct message. Then we're coming down here to the about section where you want some really good writing. I don't know really how often people go into that and read the whole thing. Probably not. This is really what they're focused on, the very top. But they'll scroll down here maybe, and you can choose in this mode that I'm in, the non-creator mode, 3 things that are featured here. So I'm featuring right now a download. I have one of my posts where I have a funny video. And then I also have a podcast episode all of these I've chosen, I'll change them from time to time, but I curate this section. So if somebody does scroll down, they're seeing something that impresses. I want them to impress. And why I've chosen this podcast episode with Erin Carroll, she's very well known in women in aerospace, women in manufacturing. A lot of people know her, although there's not a lot of engagement here, but people will read things and they won't engage. I mean, they'll just say, oh, I saw you were on that podcast, but I have no evidence here that they ever liked it or commented. So just because you don't have high engagement doesn't mean that people aren't noticing. Okay, so let's see, I've 1,489 followers. Followers are different than connections. And when you get into a class with somebody like Beth, because I have thousands of connections, I don't know why somebody would follow me and not want to connect with me, but apparently I have followers. I don't know. So Beth can explain that to you a little bit better. And then these are the comments that I'm making on other people's posts. So if you're not posting yourself, make sure that occasionally you're going in and you're finding those people that you want to, hi, I'm still here. I'm still here. Those people, find their posts and comment on them. What you can do, I can't see it on myself, but there's a little bell at the top of everybody's profile. And if you click that little bell, that means that when that person posts, you'll get a notification. And then you can go, oh, good, I'm going to comment on Elaine's post. You know, if I click that bell on Elaine's, then every time she posted, the 2-3 times a day, I would get a notification and I could comment and like and all that kind of stuff and, you know, lift her up. All right, so there you go. Curate what's in your featured section. If you do have something for clients to download, a free download, put that in there. If you have a great video, podcast, you know, be thoughtful about that. And then here's where all of your experience goes. And you can move all of these around. You can delete things. I deleted something from like an ancient job that I had. I'm like, I don't want people to think I'm that old, you know. I don't want people to know how old I am. So I removed it. I'm like, why would I even have that there? It's meaningless. It's meaningless. So these are things that I can move around on here by using this little toggle at the top. Put the most important thing, the most current thing at the top, and then you think about, you don't have to list every single job that you've ever had. List the important ones that are going to support you in your goals, and then put them in the order that makes sense. See, here's Toastmasters on there, advanced training chair. Okay, then let's go back to, let me close that. Okay, next part, education, licenses, blah, blah, blah. Here's the part that's very important, I think, this recommendation piece. Give and given. So if I want a recommendation from Lindy, let's say, I'm going to come down to my recommendations, or I want to give one. I'm going to click this little plus sign. I can either ask for a recommendation, and to get a recommendation from someone, you have to be connected to them. They have to be a connection. I think it's a first. Yeah, you have to be a first connection. So basically like, hey, let's connect. Great. That works for me. And then you can send them this recommendation, or you can give a recommendation. So let's go ahead and open ask for a recommendation. And then I need to search through my connections, find the person. I'm just going to put Lindy here. Lindy, I think, there we go. Lindy, continue. And then I need to select the relationship, position at the time, blah, blah, blah. And it's really, really great. If somebody says, hey, what can you've done such a great job for me. What can I do for you? And you say, wow, could I send you a link to provide a recommendation for me? A LinkedIn recommendation? Sure, yes. Now, just because somebody said sure, yes, doesn't mean they're going to do it. In fact, many people are like, yeah, great, but then they can't figure out what to say, and then they don't do it. So with those people, I always say, some people love writing recommendations. It's really easy. For some people, they're like, would it be helpful if I emailed you with what you could put in my recommendation? And they're like, yes, thank you. And because I know what points I want them to hit on, they don't necessarily know. And I want to make it as easy as possible for them to write a glowing recommendation. So yes, I have written some of my own recommendations on LinkedIn, but these first three I did not write. I've received 38 total. And then make sure that you're not the kind of person who's always asking for recommendations and not giving them. So if somebody's done a great job for me, Barbara, Nick, there's Lisa. See, I've given 22. But very often what you'll see is like people have received 30 and they've given 2. And that's, try to even that up a little bit. And I'll tell you what, giving recommendations is a great way to build your relationship with a client. If they have done something for you, they have put on a workshop that you went to, whatever it is, you've seen them speak, give them a glowing recommendation, they will love you. And those are the big things. Let's take a real quick look over here at Canva. How can you create that lovely background in seconds? I bet you want to know that, right? How can I create that lovely background in seconds? I don't want to hire a graphic artist, or maybe you do. But what I use is Canva. Let me get on that page first. If I go to here, and then if I go to Canva, are you seeing Canva now? Are you still seeing LinkedIn? You're still seeing LinkedIn?
Still seeing LinkedIn.
now.
Oh, no. I
Okay,
see Canva.
okay. Now you see Canva?
Canva, yes.
Okay, that's great. So over here, are you seeing this drop down where it says LinkedIn cover article, LinkedIn background photo, LinkedIn career page background? Are you seeing that? Okay, so I'm going to create a design. I'm going to click on this button, create a design, and then I'm just going to start typing in LinkedIn. And this is the one you want. This is the LinkedIn background photo. It's 1584 by 396. I'm going to click that and see there's all these things, post, article, blah, blah, blah. There's all different kinds of things. And it gives you the perfect height and width. Then you're going to pick, you already know because you've got your logo ready. You're going to upload your awesome photo, and then you can use a frame and make it round. You can color the background to your brand color. But here's the thing, once you get done with this, and then you download it, and this, which is exactly what I did for my background that you saw. Let's go back to that, actually. Then what you need to do, let me go back to LinkedIn here. Got to move this thing out of the way. There we go. Then what you need to do is pick up your phone, because many people will not come to a desktop, and you need to go to LinkedIn, the app on your phone, and see how it looks there. Because what happens is on the phone, and I'm going to go there right now and show you. Let's go to Rebecca here, view profile. So here is, you probably can't see it that well, but your photo is still over to the side. You just need to make sure that as things squish and you still have your headshot there, that it's not covering up something important, like cutting off important words. So for me, what I end up doing is all these little tweaks of scooching the letters over to one side, because I know on the phone, I don't want my face to be covering up contact information or my message. So you're going to be tweaking that a little bit, okay, that was great. I'm going to replace it again and again and again until I get it just right. All right, now let's unmute and ask whatever questions you like. I may not be the right person to answer. And if Elaine is maybe better to answer, then I'll ask Elaine to, because she's on LinkedIn more than I am. All right, unmute and ask away.
I have a question. You didn't talk about analytics, and I saw that there was something on there. Do you ever look at anything to determine if what you're doing is actually working the way you want it to?
Yes, and that's how I determined what kind of posts really do very, very well. I do look at the analytics, and that one, like that dad story that got, I don't know, almost 6,000 not necessarily interactions, but views. My videos tend to get hundreds of views. But it takes a lot of energy, you know. Sometimes I just don't have the energy to post, and I'll take the easier route of just commenting and liking and engaging in other people's. So at least I'm doing something and making a presence. Apparently, the statistics are that less than 1% of everyone who has a LinkedIn profile actually engages, like actually posts content. Less than 1%. And a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to put my name out there because what if nobody comments? That has happened to me. Okay, Lindy, you have a question.
Yeah, is there some kind of keyword function, or as you're doing this, how do you keep in mind, gee, am I using the right things to help them find me?
Yeah, you know, and for that kind of thing, I would refer you to Beth Granger. I think it's more about, like, people aren't necessarily going to find you through LinkedIn. I mean, some will, and especially those people who want to spam you, you know, like hire me for whatever. I think it's more about you being intentional. Who do you want to connect with? Get them in your circle. And then when you do post something, they're more likely to see it and interact.
Got it. So it's more like creating a circle than it is being in a listing or something.
In my mind, that's how I've found it to be the most valuable. Because otherwise you're just like, oh, I hope someone likes me. You know, I hope someone likes me, finds me. Elaine, go ahead.
Yeah, one of the ways that you can attract attention is using the pound sign or the @ sign. The @ sign, and then you type somebody's name, and that way you ping your people to join. So one of the things is tagging. Yeah. So one of the things I do, I'll put a post, and then I'll tag about 20 people, and then append another post with another 20 people. And I start to pile my friends on, and then I'll comment on the thing, and they'll see the original post and they'll see my comment, and they're like, I want to get in on it. And they'll start talking, and then I talk on top of what they say, and then talk. And that's how you get it to be like 1,000 or to 8,000 people commenting or seeing your post. You've got to like your own stuff. I click my own stuff. I like it. I laugh at my own stuff. They're like, oh my God, she's talking to herself. We better get in there or she'll look crazy. And then they all start jumping in.
Yes, that's great. That's great. And I will say one thing about tagging people. There are, if you know them really well, and if they, so for example, you go to a conference together and you have a photo of all of you together, and of course you're going to want to tag those people. So there's got to be a good reason. I mean, it's got to make sense. It's got to make sense to tag people. And the hashtags also, you know, they say use 3 to 4 hashtags, and I'm not a hashtag queen, so I can't really advise you on that, but I try to follow that too. What other questions might we have? Did somebody else raise their hand or would like to share their experience of what they're doing right now on LinkedIn that's working, something that you found helpful? perhaps? Table topics? You have 1 to 2 minutes to share? No, nobody? Oh, Lindy, go ahead.
Share another personal challenge. I think when I built mine was when I was all hepped on being a children's author. So I think it's full of my books and pointed toward that. And I'm a person who has had multiple lives in the world, so to speak. You know, we ask me what I do, and that's the question that I hate most because I go different directions. So it's difficult with LinkedIn. I mean, anything where I'm supposed to name what I am and what I do. This is one of the things that I struggle with. Okay, so do I put any of this past life stuff on here and kind of sorting through that? Do you want to speak to that, or does that not apply to you?
Yeah, of course it applies. That's kind of why I got rid of that. I think, you know, if you're clear on where you're going right now with your business, who you are, what you bring, and what kind of clients you would like to have. That's first and foremost. And then everything that you put on LinkedIn should support that. It shouldn't confuse. It should be cohesive to your personal and professional mission. See, Lindy is everything everywhere all at once. Yes, there's a movie made about you, Lindy. Did you know that? It won an Academy Award.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. Because then on top of that, I'm one of those people who hates to get rid of things because I'm afraid it'll just like obliterate that part of my life. So I've got outdated things around, including my LinkedIn profile. Okay.
Chelsea, are you raising your hand? Do you have a LinkedIn profile, Chelsea?
Yes, I do.
Yes, and tell us how you are using LinkedIn.
Right now, I don't feel like honestly I've been actively using it probably in the last couple years.
Oh, okay.
Like it is up to date for the most part. I sort of go in there every once in a while just to kind of do some tidying up, but I feel like I could do probably a little bit more to make it a bit more relevant potentially.
What do you do? Tell us what you do professionally.
I'm a UI designer and developer.
Oh,
So I do
okay.
coding and
Wow.
designing as well.
And so do you work for a big company?
I do. Yeah.
You do. Okay, that's great. And in that company, have you kind of worked your way up the corporate ladder?
To some degree.
Okay. And you have your options open for, I mean, in your mind, you love what you do. And if somebody came to you and found you on LinkedIn and said, hey, we have this, there's a lot of headhunting going on LinkedIn. You probably get those pings all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
But let's say it was an HR person, and do you feel like if they looked at your profile that they would get a sense of not only what you do, but who you are?
Yeah, I think that's the part that's missing probably for me.
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely always list out all the things that I've done, but kind of putting in that extra element of that personal element can be a little bit more difficult for me. So
it is.
Always interested in getting better at.
Yeah. And that's why hiring somebody like Lisa, working with somebody like Beth, working on our own stuff, it's just so hard to talk about yourself and to write about yourself and to put yourself out there, but somebody else can do it for you, and they'll do it better than you most of the time, because we can't get out of our way when it comes to that. But somebody else can see our shine and sparkle, and they'll put it out there, and you just copy and paste. You're done.
I always wrote my own resume, but I recently just finally took that leap to get some professional help for writing resume. So I'm sure that will also be translated into LinkedIn.
Yes, right, exactly. That you can just copy and paste it into LinkedIn, basically, because it is like a digital resume, essentially. Yeah, good for you. How about you, Craig? Do you have a LinkedIn profile?
Excuse me. I'm coughing a lot.
Oh, we've got some crazy vibrations going on. Good, good.
Try again, Craig. Sorry, I'm coughing a lot. So when I was transitioning out of the military, we went to a series of like job seminars and stuff like that. Excuse me, it's called Army Career Alumni Program. But in any event, and that's where I learned about LinkedIn, and I was told the importance of it, blah, 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 blah. So I got the profile set up, and I was humping and wearing a suit and tie and going to interviews while I was going to my bachelor's degree, but nobody, I heard, oh, well, they, really like hire veterans, and nobody wanted to hire me. I don't know why. I don't know what I was doing wrong in interviews, whatever it is. So finally, I finished my bachelor's, moved up here, got a couple of jobs the old-fashioned way without LinkedIn, and then but since I retired in 2018, I don't really use it at all.
Oh, okay.
So I have.
I mean, you can always remove it too if you have no intention of.
I still get emails every now and then saying your connection happens such, and I just ignore them. So I have a page, but I probably haven't been on it, but even looked at it in several years. So.
Yeah. And you don't have to, I was in the marketing field for many, many years, and I would have clients that just struggled with social media and they weren't going to hire anybody to help them. And I'm like, then why even do it? Don't show up if you're not showing up well, or if there's not a reason to. Like, don't torture yourself. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not talking about you necessarily, but if you don't need it, then delete it. That's my 2 cents. And it even rhymes, which is even better. We are on yellow. I'm wondering if there's any of our marketing people, hello Julie, who might like to throw one last piece of LinkedIn wisdom in here.
Yeah, so I think, one thing to keep in mind is while LinkedIn is a social network, always keep it professional, because once you put it out there, you can't take it back. So, there's a time and place for everything. And I always say, like, it depends what your business is. But, I personally feel like LinkedIn's not the place to get into a discussion about politics and religion, because you don't know who that potential employer or client, what their thoughts are. So keep it professional, keep it, on brand, and you can't go wrong.
Yes, that is great advice. In fact, the posts that I see very little action on, I have a friend who's always picking up things from the media that, are putting women down, like articles or, kind of dicey things like that. And it's contentious. It's, what's the word I'm looking for? We're all Toastmasters. What's the word I'm looking for? That it's controversial. Yes.
Controversial.
Yes. And people don't want to, like or comment. They're just afraid to. Like, I don't know if I want to put my name next to that controversial thing, even if you have an opinion on it. But yes, Julie, that is great advice. Be so careful, which happens for all social media. Be careful, right? Sonia, this is our last question, I think, because we are on yellow, but go ahead, Sonia.
Yeah, so I started
Vivian.
a LinkedIn because I had a professional thing that I did many years ago, and I made one page at that time and I left it that way. And it's fine because I still do that activity, right? But it's not necessarily my profession. With that said, so I haven't really, invested much time or work there. And I'm just curious, actually, overall, professionally speaking, what's your ROI? What's your return on investment having this type of network and social media? I mean, are you really getting clients? I mean, what is it worth my time, effort, and energy to actually build a following on this platform? Something that I've never tried to do before.
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, it has been good. For me, I met a fellow at a social thing last week. He's a head of a bank. We got talking. He's telling me his team has such a hard time communicating. And so we're talking about doing some classes. So that's the guy. He goes back, he checks me out on social media, he reaches out to me, those kind of things. but it's not for everybody. It doesn't make sense for everybody, for everything. It can be a huge waste of time, in fact, because there are
Well, and
probably better. Oh, go ahead.
The way I'm hearing you is it seems like it's more like just like having a business card, right?
It
It's
is
like
kind
having
of-
this really awesome, you know, interactive business card. And as opposed to like where, you know, if you're working on Instagram, you want to be an influencer, right? Is it the same kind of energy on the platforms? It's more like a business card and kind of business socializing.
That's how I use it. There definitely are people who are influencers on LinkedIn that have the followings, and I don't know, you know, and
Yeah.
then you know what? You have to be so intentional. Like now you're responsible for if you're building this thing, and now, okay, you have to want to do that. I don't want to do that. That is just too much work for me. So I kind of use it as the business card model, but certainly if you were willing to put in the work, you could become an influencer. You'd have to post regularly, like every week, and keep building it. Do we have time to take Vivian's question, because we're on red?
Oh, I'm the Toastmaster. I say yes.
Okay, Vivian, and I hope that helped you, Sonia. I think maybe getting some professional advice, because I'm not really the LinkedIn professional. Okay, Vivian.
Thank you, Rebecca. I'll make this short and sweet. I'm a broadcaster and live talk show host, as well as a columnist. And that scares people more than prepared speeches, because people call in live from all over the world. Can you believe I give talks in so many clubs? Lindy knows this, around America, all the way to Hawaii, and I'm a member of a club in Germany. And that scares people away. So can you imagine this? I have invited even top honchos and Toastmasters to come and guest. First question they ask me is, what are you going to ask me? I'm like, live talk show with call in, like, hello, read my face. You speak English, right? And so they all back off. I'm like, that's why I don't want to do LinkedIn, because it scares people away. That people from various trios have told me, you're scaring people away. So I said, so what do I do? Tell them I'm jobless? Help. And I do improv, by the way. If you just want to have fun, I do business improv. Now that's the fun part, right? Let's go do that sometime. But
you have-
Rebecca,
Yeah.
what? Yes?
Oh,
Yes.
go ahead. Sorry.
What's your question? Sorry.
Oh, so did you have a LinkedIn question specifically?
Oh, when I talked to some LinkedIn professionals, they said, oh, I don't think you're going to magnetize or attract people with this. I'm like, so what do I do? So that's why I'm on TV, radio, and newspapers, but
Yeah.
not in LinkedIn. Rebecca,
Yeah.
I'm online, but I want to be with LinkedIn. I want to be with you guys. I want to make friends. I want the love. What do I do?
but you've found other avenues that work brilliantly for you. So my opinion would be don't worry about it. Like, you have other ways, in better ways for you, that make sense for you. LinkedIn may not make sense for you.
Oh, great. I love you already. I was beginning to think maybe I'm a dinosaur and I'm passé and I should be buried under the sand or something.
No. You're rocking it. You're rocking it. Yes.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
I love you, Rebecca. Thank you.
Thank you. And it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure spending the last hour together with all of you. And now, Lindy, back to the center stage, Lindy McLean.
Okay, guys, we are running behind. We have a choice to make, and we can do table topics or go straight to the evaluation, where we can have an opportunity to give feedback to Rebecca. Does anybody have a burning desire for table topics? Let me see your hand if you do. All right, in that case, please help me welcome our general evaluator, Judy Stein.
Are we unmuted?
We are unmuted.
Okay, thank you. Hi, and first, thank you, Rebecca. That was a very fun presentation as well as informational. And that's what you're after, right? Fun. We want to take a little bit of time to get anyone who wants to share their comments or a takeaway that they're bringing with them. Just one takeaway, one comment, because we are running a little late, but I want to give everyone a chance to do that. So if you raise your hand, I might be able to see you, maybe. See, I have to wear my glasses now.
Lindy.
Lindy.
I'll kick it off. I want
Okay.
to say, first of all, how much I appreciate how real you were in this session, how you asked us questions about where we are and what we need. The thing I'm going to take away most is that business of intentionality and of how thinking about what we want is the place to start before we start building Rome again. Well, thank you for that and for the detailed approach of the sections. I thank you a lot.
Thank you, Lindy. Anyone else? Judy Sadler.
Thank you, Rebecca, very much. I loved your presentation. I love your energy and everything. What I'm going to take away is pretty much what Vivian's taking away. I don't have to join this. I don't have a reason. I can say no and not feel out of it. But thank you.
Thanks, Judy. Jose.
Thank you, Rebecca, for the information. 10 words or less is the message for me. I'm going to work on that because that banner, absolutely. That message from the other lady that you pointed out was very clear and it got my attention. So I'm going to keep working on that. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Jose. Who else?
Julie.
Julie.
Thank you, Rebecca, for your great presentation tonight. I think for me, one of the reminders is, if this is not just like I want to do LinkedIn, for fun, if to have the intention behind it and really make sure that it's on brand, that it's professional. One piece of feedback though is don't tell us you're not an expert because you are doing great. So will you not be like the LinkedIn wizard of all wizards? You're doing great. So don't discount your own skills. Always pump yourself up.
Thanks, Julie. Anyone else? Steve.
Yes, not that I want to mislead, but I'm going to take all those old jobs off of my LinkedIn profile.
Great to
Thank
hear,
you for
Steve.
that.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Karen.
Karen.
Yeah, that recommendations should equal out the received and given.
Oh, thanks, Karen. Anyone else, your takeaway or a comment?
Yeah. Stephen Chu.
Stephen Chu? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Rebecca. I think my main takeaway is I don't know how to put out myself. So I need to maybe get some professionals to work on my resume so that more HRs will call me. Thank you.
Thanks, Stephen. Anyone else? We're going once?
I have a comment on myself and a suggestion for Rebecca, if I may.
Okay, do you want to flip the camera back to you?
Yeah, okay. I'll steal the camera from Judy. The comment on myself is I built my LinkedIn when I was employed, and I built it as a way of networking and potentially looking for other employers. Now I am an entrepreneur. It is not doing anything for me. I need to seriously think about my brand. And I was pleased to see how easy it was to rebrand the whole background and so forth. My comment for Rebecca is you asked us questions and had us put things in the chat, like put a 1 if you're using LinkedIn. But I would encourage you to say, put a 1 if you're using LinkedIn, a 2 if you're not. And that way, because if you only say, put a 1 if you're looking LinkedIn, then we only get to see the people who are saying, yes, I use LinkedIn. We don't get to see the people who are saying, no, I don't. So I would suggest it be a 1 or do this or that. And that way you gather information about your audience more clearly.
Thanks, Kyle. Anyone else? I see a hand raised.
Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Yeah, I enjoyed the fact that you pointed out the featured section. I honestly didn't even know that existed until today. So that might be something that I need to look into and maybe think about what would go in there.
Thanks, Chelsea. Thought I had seen a hand before, but not now. Anyone
Charlotte
else?
had her hand up. Charlotte, do you want to say something?
Nope, Chelsea said exactly what I was going to say.
Thank you. Anyone else have a comment or a takeaway? Karen.
I'll come back again. Craig had commented about he gets this emails that, from his old LinkedIn, and I have an old LinkedIn. This is my third profession, so I'm getting emails from my previous two professions, and I just kind of ignore them like Craig does. And I'm thinking, this could be used as a mission, a personal mission, because I'm more in a personal space than a professional space now. And I do miss making the connections with people in my community that I'm interested in. And I could see how LinkedIn could be used personally to make those kind of connections. So I don't have to deal with the, Facebook trash stuff. So that's just a comment. I feel like it could be used personally to make connections in your own community. So thanks.
Thank you, Karen. Anyone else have any comments or takeaways? Going once, going twice? Thank you, Rebecca, for a wonderful evening. And I turn this meeting back over into Lindy's capable hands.
All right. And I'd just like to hear from our guests how your experience was. Charlotte, you're at the top of my list here because you had a hand and now it's gone. Let's hear, how was the experience for you tonight?
It was good. It was what I expected. I took away some great golden nuggets, and so appreciate the information that was shared and the networking here. So good event.
Perfect. Glad to have you. Leo, you were on camera for a while. I'm going to ask if you can come back and tell us how your experience was. All right, Melanie, can you, even without putting your camera on, can you just say how your experience was? She's going to maybe drop out and come back. She is unstable. All right, let me see. Who else can I pick on? Vivian, how was your experience tonight?
I'll take it as a challenge to not be a dinosaur, Rebecca. I live in my world, but I'm going to put one toe in, not 1 foot, one toe into LinkedIn and figure out a way, with everybody's help over here, to not scare people and make them go on a talk show. Especially, I should have majority Toastmasters there. Come on, peeps, help me make this happen.
But sweetie Vivian, don't you know that Toastmasters is full of introverts like me who like to write things out before they have to say them? That's me all over.
Exactly my point. Come on, Lindy. Okay, here's what I want you all to do before I shut up. You all have a mug. It looks like a coffee mug. Maybe you put brandy or scotch or something, and and you say cheers, and you'll forget your introverts.
There you go. Grease the wheels. Perfect. All right. Yeah, Jose, how was your experience today?
Thank you, Lindy. I enjoyed the presentation, Rebecca. I'm thinking about it. I have to be more sassy. I'm probably more creative with my information so I can get attention. So I'm going to be thinking over it. Really, thank you for disseminating this information for us. And back to you, Lindy.
I like it. Sassy Jose. Very nice.
Sassy.
Brianna, how was your experience tonight here?
Well, I feel like I learned a little bit more about how LinkedIn works. And I'm on the fence about whether I want to do much with it or not. But I also realize I need to work on branding.
Awesome. It's great to have some measure of what it is and what it involves, and as you make those decisions. That's great. I appreciated tonight that way. Steve, how was your experience tonight?
Great. There was some super information. I've got some action items, and who knew that in a presentation like this, I would learn that what I need is some scotch in my coffee cup to overcome my fears of public speaking. Thank you, Vivian. That's fantastic.
There you have it. There you have it indeed. Elizabeth, how was your experience tonight?
Hello. Excellent. You know, just the whole group, the number of people that were here, the energy, everybody's participation. I'm already connected to those 3 people, like to the lady speaker and her 2 recommended people. And I right on there with them, connected already. I'm following along on my iPad. I do know that there's a few Toastmasters in District 7, D7, and they use LinkedIn for connecting and getting the word out about Toastmasters, and they put that on their profile. So I might look into that some more. I'm going to learn.
Very good.
Thank you.
Sounds like it was a working workshop for you, and kudos to you.
Yeah.
Stephen, I think you came in late, but may I ask how your experience was?
Yeah, it was wonderful presentation. Now I'm already looked on Canva how to design my LinkedIn profile. So I already get started.
Very good.
And also, yeah, great questions from everybody. Yeah, thank you so much.
Good. I love Canva. It's very user friendly. If I can use it, so can you. Julie, how was your experience tonight? You're already an expert. How was it here coming in?
It was a great experience. Thank you so much for the presentation and inviting us. I had a great time and also took away a few new nuggets of information. So thank you.
Excellent. Let me try. Marilyn, are you able to tell us how your experience was? Or Jessica? Or Leo?
Yeah. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, this is me and Leo. To be honest, I only heard about this because my mom had shown me a link on how I should like improve my LinkedIn profile and presence, because I'm just getting into the job market because I just graduated from college. So understandably, I am very lost, but it is very awesome to see such a lively group of people just talking about it. And also, this is like I really vibe. I really vibe with this type of community. Just very fun.
Good. Well, I hope you'll come back outside of our LinkedIn presentation and see what else it might have to offer, because I sure wish I'd discovered Toastmasters when I was just out of college. Would have made my life different, that's for sure. All right. Are there any announcements?